Absolutely new migration crisis, and European as well on the politics of Mr. Viktor Orbán, who decided to build those fences at the borders between Hungary and Serbia, and then Hungary and Croatia.
You know, the Hungarian Workers' Party, my party, is against the so-called welcome the migrants policy. We think that it's not an acceptable political line. If you invite a migrant to your home or to my home, it can be an act of a very nice solidarity. It's acceptable. If a government invites migrants to the country, I think it's a great political mistake. If the whole European Union is going to invite millions of migrants to Europe, it will be a tragedy, a European tragedy, a tragedy for all European people and the European civilization. We are an anti-capitalist party, naturally, and we think that the whole problem of the migration is caused by the capitalist system itself. It was the European Union, the United States, to destroy the stable regimes of Africa and the Middle East. They changed and even killed Gaddafi. They changed the system in Egypt. They want to change the system in Syria. They bomb Syria. And naturally the result and the consequence of this policy that the migrants are coming to Europe. It is their mistake. And if you invite more and more migrants to Europe, you cannot solve the main reasons. You should solve the reasons of this crisis. You should go to Syria, you should go to Afghanistan, to other countries, to build factories, to give jobs to the people, and to help the governments of these countries, and to prevent a further development of a migration flow to Europe. We are an oppositional party in Hungary. Nevertheless, we declared from the very first minute that we support the line of Mr. Orbán in this question. He is the Prime Minister, he leads the government, it is their responsibility and it is their possibility to act. I can criticize the government, I can have good imagination, good plans, good ideas, but I'm not the Prime Minister. I don't have now the power, perhaps later, but not now. And I think that what they are doing and what Mr. Orbán is doing is quite correct. We should save Hungary, we should defend the borders of Hungary, and at the same time we should save Europe and European civilization. We have in Hungary our experience, you know, that a great part of the Hungarian population is the so-called Roma or Gypsy population. And we know from centuries, and we have this experience, that it is very difficult to find a common language and a common way of coexistence, even between the Hungarian population and the Gypsy population, and not speaking about Syrians, Arabs, Afghans and other populations.
Regarding your position about this immigration topic, it seems that you have a very different position than usual left-wing or radical left-wing parties in Western Europe. For example, the French Communist Party turned in the 80s from a position expressed by Mr. Georges Marchais, who was leading the French Communist Party at this time, who was quite against immigration because he considered it was not in the interest of the French workers. Then suddenly, in the 80s, there has been a change of policy on this topic, and then the line of the party became some kind of welcome to migrants. How do you see this evolution of the left-wing and radical left-wing parties in Western Europe that are absolutely supporters of those massive migrations?
Yes, all these elements what we see now are the consequences of the social changes in the left movement Western Europe and also Eastern Europe. Traditionally, in the 1960s, 70s, the majority of the members of the left parties belonged to the working class, to the working categories of the society. Then it changed. The middle classes and even rich people came to the left parties. In Hungary, for example, a left foreign minister was Mr. Gyurcsány, a billionaire. You can understand that a billionaire cannot understand the real everyday problems of the common Hungarian people. And it is the same in France, in Italy, in Austria. And if you don't understand the real demands of the people, you will lose the contact with them, and you will have a policy, a political line, which is unacceptable for these categories. It is, I think, the reason of the loss of the left parties in many countries of Western Europe. I remember the French Communist Party, which really defended the interests of the population of France, of the French workers, and when they went over to a liberal side, they begin to lose their support. And I think that the same situation is now in other countries in Europe. Have a look at Austria. It's not a secret that the majority of the workers in Austria voted during the last elections for the Freedom Party of Austria, not for the communist, which practically a liberal line, but for that party which say that no, stop the migration, let's represent the interests of the working people of Austria. What our party is concerned, we think that we are living here in Hungary, we should defend the interests of the Hungarian people. First of all, the interest of the Hungarian working people, workers and other working categories. And I think that it is the right political line which could lead to successes.